So we're going to learn about 7.1, apply the Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, apply the Pythagorean Theorem. So find the length of the hypotenuse to the right triangle. Okay, so the hypotenuse of the right triangle. So we have two legs. The legs have the included angle being the right angle, and the right angle points at the hypotenuse. The right angle always points at the hypotenuse. This one is our hypotenuse. We are solving for the missing hypotenuse. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. When you know two sides, you can find the third. 8 squared plus 6 squared equals what squared? 8 squared is 64, 6 squared is 36. When you add them together, you get 100. X squared equals 100. What times itself gives you 100? Well, if I take the square root on both sides, square root and square root are inverses. They are opposites. So if you do that, they cancel out, and you get x equals, it's technically positive and negative 10, because negative 10 times negative 10 is 100, and positive 10 times positive 10 is 100. But because it's a length, the negative answer is extraneous, and we only go with the positive answer, because lengths must be positive. So our missing value is 10. If you guys remember from the music video that we just listened to on the Pythagorean Theorem, from vocabulary, it said a squared plus b squared equals c squared. At the end, it talked about Pythagorean triples. So this is actually a multiple of Pythagorean triple. This is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. 3 times 2, 4 times 2, 5 times 2 is 10. So you might have noticed that it was a multiple of a Pythagorean triple. If so, you didn't have to use the Pythagorean theorem. If you didn't notice that, then 8 squared plus 6 squared equals what squared, and that gives you the 10 as well. So on this one, what squared plus 3 squared equals 5 squared? I know that the 5 is by itself because 5 is across from the right angle. 5 is our hypotenuse, and these are our legs. All right, so we have a leg, and a hypotenuse. What squared plus 3 squared equals 5 squared? What squared plus 3 times 3 is 9 equals 5 squared, or 5 times 5 is 25. Subtract 9 from both sides. X squared is 16. What times itself is 16? What is the square root of 16? Good job, 4. Positive, negative 4, and we are only going with the positive version because it is a length, and lengths must be positive. So your x, your missing value, is 4. Once again, it is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, which was one of those Pythagorean triples. Identify the unknown side as a leg or hypotenuse. So our unknown side, is this a leg or a hypotenuse? It is a hypotenuse. Then find the unknown side length of the right triangle. Write your answer in simplest radical form. What squared equals 6 squared plus 4 squared? 6 times 6 is 36. 4 times 4 is 16. When you add them together, what do you get? 52. Square root. So what perfect square goes into 52? Let's think about this. 8 squared is 64, too big. 7 squared is 49. It's not going to evenly go into 52. 6 squared is 36. 36 times 2 is already at 72. It's not going to work. 5 squared is 25. Does 25 evenly go in here? No, it goes into 50, not 52. 16. Does 16 go into 52? 16, 16, 32. 64. No, it's not going to work, right? How about 9? Does 9 go into 52? Nope. 4? 4 times 13, because 4 goes into 5 once with 1 left over, and then 4 goes into 12 3 times. So 4 times 13. The square root of 4 is 2, so 2 rad 13. There are no perfect squares that go into 13, because 13 is 4 squared is 16, too big. 9 does not go in there. 4 does not go in there. We're just done. 13 is prime. Nothing's going to go in. That's going to be a perfect square. It's prime. It's only divisible by 1 in itself. 2 rad 13 is our answer, and it is a hypotenuse. Your hypotenuse will always be the largest side as well. So 2 rad 13, what is that? That is actually 7.2. So that's another way you can check it, is just make sure it is the longest side. A 16-foot ladder rests against the side of a house, and the base of the ladder is 4 feet away. Approximately how high above the ground is the ladder? So what is the height of the building? How high up is the ladder on that building? Well, let's see. We are looking for a leg. The hypotenuse is 16 because it's across from the right angle. So 16 squared equals x squared plus 4 squared. 16 squared, 16 times 16 is 256 equals 16 plus x squared. 256 minus 16 is 240. And then we need to take the square root of 240. And when we plug that into our calculator, we get 15.492. 15.492. So we didn't do it in simplest radical form because I saw that all of our answer choices were in whole numbers or decimals. So that's why I just plugged it into my calculator and found out that our answer should be 15.5 because this 9 makes the 4 a 5. Any number 5 or greater is going to make it higher. And then if this would have been a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then the 4 would have remained the same, the 4/10. The top of the ladder rests against a wall 23 feet above the ground. So here is our building. Here's our ladder. It's perpendicular to the ground. It is 6 feet away from the wall. We want to know how high up on the wall it is if our ladder, oh, nope, sorry. It says it rests 23 feet up on the building, and we want to know the length of the ladder. So we're looking for a hypotenuse in this one. X squared equals 6 squared plus 23 squared. 6 squared is 36. 23 squared, 529. Add them together. 565. And then take our square root. 23.7697 and so on. Round to our nearest tenth. So what is a 6 going to do to the 7? Is it going to leave it alone or is it going to make it an 8? It's going to make it an 8. We round up. 23.8 feet. Keep our units consistent. The Pythagorean theorem is only true for what type of triangle? A right triangle. Find the area of an isosceles triangle with side lengths of 10, 13, and 13. So first we're going to draw it. What is the area of a triangle? 1/2 base times height. 1/2 our base of 10 times our height. We need to know what our height is. The base is 10, the height is here. The height is always perpendicular to our base. So this is actually a Pythagorean triple. It is a 5, 12, 13. If you didn't realize that this was a Pythagorean triple, you could just use Pythagorean theorem. So 5 squared plus what squared equals our hypotenuse squared. 25 plus our unknown height squared equals 169. X squared equals, when I subtract 25 from both sides, I get 144. And when I take the square root on both sides, I get 12. 12 times 10 is 120, divided by 2 is 60. So 60 meters squared is our area. Now I want you guys to try this one. What would you do? 1/2. What's my base? Good. And what is my height? How do I find my height? I need to split the 30 into 15 and 15, right? So if I have 15 and 18, how do I find my height? Pythagorean theorem, haven't you heard? When you know two sides, you can find the third. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 15 squared is 225. 18 squared is 324. Minus 225 is 99. Square root. And that's 9 times 11, or 3 rad 11, right? Half of 30, 15. 15 times 3, 45. So our answer is 45 rad 11 feet squared, which is approximately 149.2 feet squared. So if you would have done the 99 square root button times 30 equals, divide by 2 equals, you would have gotten the same answer of 149.2481156, which rounds to 149.2, because 0.4 does not increase that. It remains the same. Find the unknown side length of the right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem, and then use a Pythagorean triple. So Pythagorean theorem, 9 squared plus 12 squared equals what squared? 9 times 9 is 81. 12 times 12 is 144. Add them together, what do you get? 225. And the square root of 225? 15. This is actually a 3, 4, 5 triangle. 3 times 3, 4 times 3, 5 times 3. So it's a 3, 4, 5 by a multiple of 3. How about over here? What squared equals 48 squared plus 14 squared? What is 48 squared? 2,304. And 14 squared is 196. And if we add them together, we get 2,500. And the square root of 2,500. If you don't know this one by heart, think about it. The square root of 25 times the square root of 100. The square root of 25 is 5, the square root of 100 is 10, and 5 times 10 is 50. So this x would be 50. This is a 7, 24, 25 by a multiple of 2. And that is our entire lesson.